Hi everybody, my name is André Allard and I'd like to welcome you to this new episode of Wings Over Quebec. Today's topic will be Pratt Whitney and its green or environmental engagement, and we'll develop a little bit more from what was presented to media on last Thursday. But before we dive into it, please, if you could subscribe at our YouTube channel by clicking here at the bottom. You can, if you like this video, you click like or j'aime en français. That little click is very helpful to us because it enhances YouTube, or it enhances our visibility on YouTube. So just by clicking, you're giving us a big hand. Okay. Pratt Whitney held a meeting last week in East Hartford, Connecticut. The goal of the meeting was to make a point or assess all Pratt Whitney's green engagement and what's coming up in the next years about that, or all the environmental change or preoccupation that has been taken by Pratt Whitney. And as a matter of fact, Pratt Whitney stressed out the fact that their green engagement or their commitment, their new sustainable practice didn't start a year ago or two, but many years ago. And the best example they give is the hybrid propulsion project that is being developed here in Montreal at Mirabel, with the conversion of a Dash 8-200 to an hybrid aircraft. That program first started in 2010, but it was back then was not a major program. But with the evolutions of batteries and higher density of power into batteries, they start to work more seriously on it 2 years ago, and then now. And that's why they think they're going to be able to have a demonstrator next year and be able to have a first flight in 2024. I'll get back to that concept aircraft in a minute or two. So basically, the goal for Pratt & Whitney with the last Thursday event was to change the narrative, or stressed out, like I said, about their sustainable commitment. And they have a new plant that's being built in North Carolina, and that will be a LEED certified building, and it's part of Pratt & Whitney engagement. In Canada, Pratt & Whitney is a major R&D investor. As a matter of fact, they are Canada's top company when it comes to R&D investment. I had the occasion to talk about that with the CEO of Pratt Whitney Canada, who is Della Posta. And Madame Della Posta stressed out the fact that Pratt Whitney has kept the pace with R&D investment in Canada. Even through the crisis, they invested 500 million Canadian last year in 2020. They're still investing this year $500 million in R&D. So it's Pratt Whitney Canada is really on the edge of what's coming up, and so it's not because they don't have other projects that are being named or widely talked about that they're not investing. As a matter of fact, the priority right now is the hybrid propulsion program. And like I mentioned, first ground run up would be by the end of 2022. First flight would be in 2024, and the Dash 8 is a demonstrator platform. So you gotta once we get the final configuration of the aircraft, its maximum takeoff weight and stuff like that, we may find out that there wouldn't be enough room for some reasonable payload. And it's not the goal of this demonstrator is not to have a commercial operable aircraft. It's to gather data to make the demonstrations of the feasibility and the potential of this concept. Now, I want to stress out the fact that Pratt and Whitney's project hybrid project is different than many others because their project is working on a parallel hybrid propulsion opposite to in-series hybrid propulsion that is mostly being developed right now. What's the difference between the both of them? Well, if you look at the schematic that I've put on screen right now, in the case of the Pratt & Whitney project, you see that on the right, you have a PW1 engine, 121 engine. That's the engine that's being on the aircraft right now. That's gonna give half the power needed, to drive the propellers. So 1 kilowatt basically. The reason why they're using the existing aircraft engine, they didn't want to spend time, developing a certification, for a new engine that would be better optimized, and modifying the aircraft nacelles and stuff like that. By keeping the same engine, they're saving time, but of course its power will be reduced by half, by 50%. That engine, you grab a gearbox that's already there. That's the PW121 gearbox, and then between the gearbox and the propeller, there will be an electric motor. Okay, that electric motor, if it's not required, it will not develop any power and will be probably sitting on the shaft but being neutral. Whenever you're on takeoff period, you need extra power. Then the batteries are gonna feed the other 1,000 watt of power, electric power needed for the takeoff period, so 1 kilowatt. And then, as you see, both sources of energies are present at the same time and giving torque to the propeller shaft, which is very important there. So if you lose power from the electric motor, in this case, you lose 50% of the power of that engine. But on a twin engine, that would be hybrid with this case, then if you lose electric power, you only lose 25% of total power available for the aircraft on a twin engine. So that's a big difference with the other mode at the bottom. This is a little heavier setup because you have the presence of a gearbox, and then it is important to put the engine motor between the propeller and the gearbox, because usually electric motors have RPM speed that are closer to the one of the propeller. In this case, the propeller has a RPM below 2000, while the gas turbine engine can have speeds up to 40,000 RPM. 40 RPM are not compatible with efficient electric motor, period. So that's why you would need the gearbox there, and you have an extra set of battery. This is a little heavy kit if you compare to what's done at the bottom there when you go with the in-series hybrid. In the case of a series hybrid, the combustion generator, it's a bad translation that I put on the schematic there, but the generator, is driven by a gas turbine or whatever else. It could be a piston engine, it doesn't matter. But you have a generator that sends electric power to the batteries, and then the batteries are feeding the electric motor. If the electric motor fails in this case, then you have no more power anymore that's being given or bring to the propeller. Of course, on a twin aircraft, twin engine aircraft, that's not a problem. But on a single aircraft engine, that would not be that in order to get it certified for a single engine single engine aircraft, sorry, example PC-12. If you want to have a PC-12 that would be hybrid in this configuration, if you want to get it certified for commercial operation, night AFR flight in commercial operation, you're going to have to be able to demonstrate that this electric motor has a sufficient reliability to be certified. Now, Madame Della Posta stressed out the fact that for single engine operation with the PT6, it took 3 generations of pilot to get it certified for IFR flight, commercial operation at nighttime. Nighttime, it even took more than that. But just for commercial operation on a single engine, it took 3 generations of pilot. Roughly took more than 30 years, okay? So when we talk about getting single engine hybrid aircraft being certified for commercial operation, keep that in mind. Now, as I mentioned on the top, the schematic on the top, the one with the parallel hybrid, it opens up a lot of possibilities. Like if you want to have a PT6, a hybrid PT6, sorry, then by having an extra motor, a second source of energy, if the electric motor fails, you lose 50% of the power, and then you might be able to keep operating your aircraft for a long period of time. With the bottom one, well, you're limited to the battery power available once you lose the electric motor. You have no other solution. You need to go down. You're going down. If the combustion generator fails, well, you're limited to the battery power available there. So there's 2 sources of failure. You need to demonstrate a very high reliability rate in order to get it certified. So that's the hybrid propulsion is the main target for Pratt Whitney on the middle and long-term development, and in order to get some sustainable aviation propulsion. So part of the $500 million a year that's being invested by Pratt Whitney Canada goes into that program, and it's going to be the major program. Now, Pratt Whitney has 3 axes of investment right now when it comes to decarbonizing the aviation and going to more sustainable development. So the other one that's less talked about, but it's improving actual engines, by reducing fuel consumption and emissions from actual engine. Well, you're already having an impact on short term on the atmospheric emission and pollution. So that's the other big axle that or big trend big axle of investment for Pratt & Whitney. The other one, Madame Della Posta mentioned that they are also working on a breakthrough technology development. She told we can't talk about it now, but they're all looking for new type of propulsion system, which they can't give any detail now, but they're working on it. When it comes to Pratt & Whitney Canada, I asked Madame Della Posta that if they were looking for new engine for general aviation or turbofan for business jet, because if you look at the Pratt & Whitney Canada portfolio right now, they have the PW300 engine, which goes up to 5,000 pounds of thrust, and then you go with the PW800 engine that's are above 10,000 pounds of thrust. Now, Pratt & Whitney, Madame Della Posta, they're really happy with the PW800 program. I mean, it was a major investment program, and now this program is bringing benefits to the company. They are present now on 4 major business jet aircraft, and they're very happy with the results that they got from that engine. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Pratt & Whitney Canada is a major investor in R&D, but After you've developed new engines, new propulsion system, there comes a point where this investment have to generate profit. So in the case of the PW, or in the case of Pratt and Whitney with business jet aviation or turbofan, they're not looking for a new turbofan. So for right now, and Madame de la Posta mentioned it, that the gap between the 5 and 1,000 pound of thrust and 10,000 pound of thrust could be partially filled with the PW 800, because they think they could derate the engine or downscale its power, and it could be used in a 8,000-9,000 pound of thrust engine, if that would be asked from an OEM. She wasn't, Madame de la Posta was not clear about demand from OEMs for an engine of 8,000-9,000 pound of thrust, but she also mentioned something quite interesting. Aircraft like the Challenger 3500 and the G280 are more and more complex. They have more and more systems, so they require more and more thrust per pound of aircraft, because these systems are taking a lot of power. So she's stressing out that for those super mid-size aircraft that are using the Honeywell, maybe the PW 800 would do a fine job, especially if you want to increase the number of the capacity of these aircraft in terms of systems. Then the PW 800 might fill the gap. So that's it with a new fan engine being developed. Then I've tackled the famous. There's always a rumor with Pratt and Whitney Canada, about the PT6 or the replacement of the PT6. So the PT7, the PT9. It's changed. The designation of those research program always change, but there again, Madame de la Posta stressed out that the fact that the hybrid propulsion program right now, one of its goals is to gather data and information of how to optimize the system, what type of engine would be a combustion engine would be optimized to use it with a battery and stuff like that. So clearly, the hybrid PT6 could be something they are looking for. Madame de la Posta told that they're having discussions about an hybrid PT6 with some of the OEMs. So, of course, right now, Pratt Whitney is not going to start to develop an hybrid PT6 without the data from the first run-up of the hybrid project next year. So, I would say, and she mentioned that a first commercial application being ready to certify from an hybrid propulsion would be from here to 2030. So it might be before. She mentioned that the more demand they're gonna get from OEM, the more they're gonna accelerate the development of an hybrid engine. That could be the PT6. Now, don't forget, I told you earlier, the PT6 with an hybrid solution could be a winner. It would open up. There are still some operators out there that don't want to have a PC-12 because they say it's a single engine. You have a failure with the single engine, you're done. You're gonna crash. You're gonna die. If you look at statistics, I don't think there have been a lot of death caused by the failure of the PT6 on PC-12. So, but change, resistance to change, and old habit. People want safety. Well, the hybrid solution, when it's powered in parallel, would offer that extra safety that might convince some operator to switch to single engine operation. So, but remember, most of those aircraft that are certified or operated under single engine today, well, all of them are operated or are using a PT6. So if you want to talk about later development, PT6 single engine operation with electric or hybrid in propulsion, it's gonna be something with the PT6 for probably. Okay, so that's what's coming up with those development axes. Yeah, there are other things that are being developed, and Madame de la Posta also mentioned that they have full FADEC PT6 now, and this all the most recent development of the PT6, especially from electronic, is gonna be mitigate through all the PT6 family. So in few years from now, all PT6 might be offered with full FADEC, all variant, and they're still gonna improve it. They still feel the need to improve the PT6 in the short term, because being green, being working toward sustainable development means also getting better results on the short term, not only the long term. Then that's the philosophy of Pratt Whitney right now. Also, Pratt Whitney in Montreal right now has come back above the 4,000 people being employed level. During the pandemic, they went below that, but right now, Pratt Whitney Canada has called back 75% of people who were laid off. They're back to work, so they're getting close to the employment level they were before the crisis. Right now, general aviation sector, which includes business aviation, is above the 2019 level, because during the pandemic, airlines cut their capacity, they reduced the number of available flights. So general aviation took some of that work. So in general aviation, workload has increased for Pratt Whitney Canada, because they don't, and you have to understand, Pratt Whitney in Canada and Montreal, they don't only make new engine. There's a big part of the business that's come from MRO, so all PT6 engines, but also all kind of other engine, GPUs for aircraft and stuff like that. So anything that's related with general aviation right now at Pratt Whitney is above 2019 level. The only level that's below, it's the airline sector, air transport, or major bigger engine with the PW100 and above, airlines EPU, GPU, EPU, not GPU, but APUs. That sector is below pre-pandemic level, and Madame de la Posta mentioned, she said that about airlines are below 35% below their pre-pandemic number, and she says you could almost translate that to the same for the airline sector of Pratt and Whitney Canada. But like I mentioned, they went back above 2,000 people working for them in Montreal, 6,000 overall in Canada, and the company now feels the pressure of labor shortage, and it's a new. They're gonna have to address this task of hiring new people soon, probably 2022. But she mentioned that when it came with the COVID-19 crisis, they were very careful in their layoff process, because Madame de la Posta mentioned that when you lay off people, it breaks something. You bring the link. The relation is broken between the employers and the employee, and it happens quite often. They don't come back after that. So they had to be very careful with that, and making sure they would lay off strict minimum of people, instead, just to avoid losing some employees. But they're gonna have to hire in 2022, that's for sure. And that's it. That's about Pratt Whitney Canada's situation. And as I mentioned, well, Pratt Whitney Canada, with $500 million investment a year in R&D, they are in fact Canada's top investor in that in R&D, and it's a congratulations to Pratt Whitney for that. I think it's it's good for the aeronautic sector of Canada and Montreal and Quebec. So that's all I had to say for today. Well, if you kept listening this video till the end, that's because you like it. There's no reason why you wouldn't click I like. And for me, it's over. So I'm telling you, see you next week.